right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome. Thank you to, first of all, to the people who actually stayed on, and for those who are just joining. So we had to change the time from 6 to 7 for unavoidable reasons, and so we're going to get started now. Can you just kindly let me know if you can hear me by putting thumbs up, or yes, I can hear you in the chat room. So if you can hear me fine, please put it in the chat room that you can hear me fine, so we can confirm that is okay before we get started. Okay, great. All right. Okay, can I be louder? Thanks for pointing that out. How is it now? Is it louder? Is it louder? Kindly let me know if okay, great. You can hear me loud and clear. All right, thanks for the feedback. So I'm going to stop. Okay, if at any point you can't hear me, just let me know, and I will. Ayeni, can you hear me now? All right, fantastic. So I'm just going to check if Mr. Soriyan is on screen. And I'm going to start my video. Okay, 1 second. Okay. Can everyone see? Okay, we're just waiting for Mr. Soriyan to join us, and then we will get started. So welcome everyone. Thank you for signing up for this webinar. It's a very interesting one, and I am really looking forward to it myself because I've always been interested in the idea of raising children for a future that we can't really prepare for. And indeed, the future is so different now, right? And this period of lockdown has really shown us that we certainly have to be thinking in a different way when it comes to raising kids for the future we think we know. So why don't I just start with some of the ground rules so that we know how this is going to operate. What we're going to do is I'm going to introduce our speaker. We're going to talk a little bit about parenting for the future, and then we're going to start to take questions and answers. So if you have any questions, please type it into the Q&A box, which you will see at the bottom of your screen. The box that says Q&A, kindly use that to ask your questions, not the chat room, okay? So Kemi here on the call, kindly type that in the chat room. Let people know that they should use the Q&A box to ask any questions they have and not the chat room, because that is only the window I'll pick questions from when it is time. Okay, so really that's the administrative housekeeping rule. If you have questions, type it in Q&A. We'll try to get through as many as we can. It's going to be a packed 1 hour. So take your notes, and anything we don't get through, I'll be sure to try and get you the answers later at some time. Okay, so Mr. Soriyan, are you on? So I can bring you into screen share. 1 second, let me just All right. So welcome. We have so many people on this webinar. Yes. So can they should type it under the Q&A box, the Q&A box, which is at the bottom of your screen. Okay. So we're going to be kicking off very shortly, just allowing a few more people to log in. So at least we've confirmed you can hear fine and network is good. Okay, there's no breaking. Okay. So Mr. Soriyan, are you on? While we wait for him to join us and I bring him in, what I'm going to do is I am going to read out his profile so that we know who exactly is talking to us and why I myself are very excited about this. So Olakunle Soriyan is a polymath. He's a catalytic thought leader. He's transdisciplinary keynote speaker. He's a futurist. He's a thought leader. He's a thought leader. Give me 1 second. He's a thought leader. Come on. Sorry, give me 1 second. Let me just push that. I'm so sorry about breaking transmission. Hang on 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. I'm going to kick off again. So Mr. Soriyan is a polymath, a catalytic thought leader, transdisciplinary keynote speaker. He's a futurist. He's a influencer, relevance consultant, strategist. He's a culture shaper. He's a philanthropist. He's a social impact investor, mentor, spiritual guide. These are just some of the words to describe Mr. Soriyan. Now, he's also called the rocker, right? So when somebody is called the rocker, you kind of know what that means. He shakes things up. He shakes the table. He makes us think very deeply about the things that we think we know. He's called the rocker in the industry by colleagues and stakeholders. He works globally by helping leaders and high impact individuals to reach deeper dimensions of meaning and purpose. Okay, he discerns and embraces season for newness and helps people to achieve higher levels of expression, global relevance and continued relevance for themselves personally and for the ideas and projects they hold there. Simply put, he helps action figures make the move from point A to point B globally. For 2 decades, he has been breathing newness and next level for people and organizations everywhere, and has been doing that in societies as well. And everybody's really grateful for the skills he brings to the table because they are like none before or none seen before. He also serves individuals, families, governments, and organizations across the globe. He has worked with Fortune 500 companies, Coca-Cola, Microsoft, Total, Ipsala, and so many more. He works strictly with people and organizations with a deep and uncompromising resolve for newness and next level. So you can imagine the kind of conversations we have when it comes to parenting with Mr. Soriyan. So that is who we're bringing on today, and those are the things we're going to be discussing. How do we raise children for the future? So not the past that we knew, not even what we think we know, but what are the things that are critical when it comes to raising a child to be ready for a future that is so diverse, that is borderless, and truly our kids have to be global players from day one. let me introduce myself for people who might not know me. So my name is Yetty Williams, and I'm the founder and CEO of Lagosmums, which is a company that started about almost 10 years ago when I was a stay-at-home mom with my second child. And I decided that raising kids is something that needs to be done slightly differently. You know that saying, the African proverb that says, it takes a village to raise a child, right? In this case, it's I'm sorry, that is our speaker calling. So just give me 1 second. You're going to have to hold on. Okay. So this thing happened. He thought it was an Insta live. There we go. He's in now. There's so many platforms, right? Okay. Welcome. He's on now. Welcome. Let me just add him in.
Hello. You need to unmute my video.
Yes. I'm making you a co-host.
Okay. Great.
Okay, there we go. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Welcome. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right. Okay.
I've been trying to, I thought it was on IG, so I've been on IG trying to refresh.
I'm so glad you called me offline to say what's going on, because I kept looking for you saying, are you here? Is Mr. Soriyan?
I'm so sorry.
Okay.
I was on IG and I didn't see that mail. It's after you mentioned it now that I went to search for the mail and I found it. I didn't see it. I don't know how I missed that. No, it's okay.
It's fine.
Okay.
Welcome. So good.
Thank
Everybody's excited to have you in. I was just giving background. So before you came on, I read your bio. We know what to expect.
Great.
And I was just introducing myself as well to people who might never have met me or heard about Lagosmums. So I was just thinking about parenting, but not parenting based on just, we want to teach children to be polite and disciplined. All those things are important. But how do we ensure we're raising children for the future that keeps changing faster than we can catch up with? So that is what Lagosmums, and I love how your video you did yesterday, you said it's a movement. And I had never thought of Lagosmums as a movement until you said that.
That's how I feel it.
But the truth is, I want us to think differently about what parenting means and how to raise adults. Because we are not raising children, we're raising adults. Welcome. So everybody, we're going to have a chat. I'm going to have a chat with Mr. Soriyan, and then towards the end, we'll start to take Q&A. So if you have any questions, kindly drop it in the Q&A box. So welcome, sir. And the first thing I'd like to do is, can you introduce yourself with something we don't know? So we already know, the nickname, the Rockers. We know you shake tables and all of that. Can you tell us something unusual, your perspective on parenting, something we've never heard or seen before?
Well, personally, I have a commitment to parents. People don't know that I actually co-found a parenting company, and I run a parenting clinic, and why do I thought that parenting was critical for whatever I have to do with my life? Well, because I grew up in a lot of complexity myself, but for providence, I could have missed what I'm doing today. And parenting was a critical determinant factor of that miss. If I'd missed it, I grew up in a polygamous home, and you know what it means to grow up in a polygamous home. In fact, I'm convinced that you can't grow up, you can't develop in a polygamous home and be normal again, except by some divine intervention or by some serious, therapy of some sort. But it's not going to be something natural, The damage in that kind of system is almost perpetual, almost, For example, in a polygamous home, your mom wants you to perform and to get the best result in school, but she's not asking you to perform because of the ideal of excellence. No, the reason why she wants you to perform is because she needs to rent more space in the mind of your dad so that more resources can be sent towards you and your mom, and therefore you are being challenged to pursue the loftiest things in life, for the wrong reasons, because she's not asking you to be first because of the ideal of excellence. She just wants you to be first because of something else. As a child, that's too complex. By the time you become an adult, you become incapable of pursuing things in their meaning and in their essence. You pursue the best things in life for the wrong reasons. Again, you grow up in a polygamous home with suspicion. They tell you, some people are trying to kill you. Don't trust these people, particularly if it's in Africa. Don't let somebody touch your head. Don't go here. Don't go here. Those people they are telling you to be careful of, they bear the same surname as you. They have your last name, and the other mom has your last name. When your mom is going out, she can leave you in a house 10 houses away than leave you in the house with your stepsisters and brothers, right? As a child, that's too much complexity. You grow up, you become incapable of trusting people because you were trained not to trust even those who bear your name. Then you are taught to compete. You compete so much, because that's how you grew up. You grew up in the midst of competition. Everybody's trying to get the impression of the King Kong in the house, which is your dad. So by that experience, I went left. I just went left. You know what that means? I just went to the left side of life. And it took me another 26 years before I could begin to go right. So I got a passion. I realized that everyone we don't like out there, call it Bin Laden, call it Adolf Hitler, call it politicians, call it, rapists, call it killer, assassin, call it any name. There is no error in society that is not traceable to an inaccurate development structure in childhood. There's no crisis of adulthood that is not traceable to the wrong impartation in childhood. There's not one. Every adult behavior, right or wrong, are founded on experiences in childhood. So I concluded that the crisis of the family is the crisis of the nation. Whatever it is we don't like in the country, are all traceable to experiences in childhood. So if we can correct, because that's one thing we all have in common. We're going to attend different universities. We're going to have different surnames. We're going to come from different backgrounds. We're going to have different disciplines as we grow up, as we mature. We're going to embrace different courses in the university. Some will not even go, all kinds of experiences. But one institution that binds all of us together is the family institution. And the curriculum of that institution has a lasting, almost perpetual, residual impact on our reality. And so that is the best time to build society. The nations that invest everywhere and forget about the family institution, essentially, coupleship and parenting, because good coupleship is good parenting, right? You can't have it the other way around, you know. So when all of that is in place, we stand a chance of building a healthy society. I challenge African governments when I have the opportunity to relate with any to say, look, you may not have a template for this. Other nations might not have taken it into cognizance, but it may be time for us in the 2000s, if we have to correct our future realities, to begin to invest in how we define realities in the family institution. I even believe the age of marriage should be legislated, and there should be some conditions in marriage that should be legislated. It's new, it's not documented anywhere, but I don't believe anybody should just get married at the speed of wish or at the speed of desire. That is where we multiply stress, you know. So if we have to legislate, we have to identify some key indicators that demonstrate strength for a man and a woman, for them to be able to marry. It may not be in any other constitution in the world, but we can create it and embed it in our own constitution and begin to insist that if you don't meet this standard, you cannot get married by law, you know. But those are symposium discussions for the future. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Wow, I like what you said about the curriculum of parenting, curriculum that the family, because everybody has one. We just might not have thought about it in a structured format or not, but we
have it by default.
Yeah, by default, where we've all gone through one, and we're all creating one right now as parents today. So before we delve a bit further into parenting, I wanted to talk about what it means to be a futurist, because that has definitely been one question a lot of people have come. That, what is a futurist? So can you explain what that is, and how did you navigate into that space?
Yeah, so a futurist is one that is able to declare the end from the beginning. So for those who are Christians, they can understand that the king futurist is God himself, because the Bible said it clear. It declares the end from the beginning, right? Maybe a futurist is the 21st century word for a seer or a prophet, pretty much. If I was in church, I could easily be labeled as a prophet. If I was in the Old Testament, I could easily be labeled as a seer, you know. But essentially, as a futurist, you use two skills. First of all, prescience, which is science as in science, S-C-I-E. It's written science, but it's pronounced science, so it's prescience, pretty much. And then trend watching, and some people call it strategic foresighting, is the ability of the human mind to pretty much photograph a future, the future. And it's not visioning. Visioning is photographing a preferred future. No, that is limiting what is ahead to your choice and choosing to create it by your own exertion, by your own, you know, impact. That is visioning. But strategic foresighting, futurism, is about seeing a future that will be common to everybody, not just what you want to see in your own future, right? Okay. Seeing the future in its element and being able to declare it today so that we can make adjustments today to take a stake in that future that is sure to come, future that is sure to come. How did I navigate this part? A lot of it is gift, I must say. A lot of it is gift, but because there's still, I mean, there are no courses in any university to teaching futurism. But futurism has been associated in Africa. One of the biggest challenges we have in Africa, whether in the church or in businesses or in religion or whatever space, in government, we think strategy. That is the highest level of thinking in corporate Nigeria, for example, or corporate Africa especially, is strategic thinking, right? And strategic thinking is what allows you to plan, right? But strategic foresighting is different from strategic thinking. Strategic thinking is you have to see what is on ground and then plan based on that. But strategic foresighting is to see what is ahead and then strategize based on that. So it's safer. In the United States, they do futurism before they strategize. So it is the contents of futurism that they strategize on. So strategic foresighting should precede strategic planning. So strategic foresighting. So when we see what is ahead, then we plan based on what we see that is ahead, and we plan on that today. So that is futurism. There are courses everywhere. myself and my friend in Colorado are also planning to set up a futurist academy. In Africa, we're working on that, but just to help management, leadership, and help individuals, high impact individuals, to develop their skill, to be able to see what is ahead and to predict it pretty much. And because a lot of what is happening now, for example, is not a shock to me. You know, if anybody has attended my event, I run an event called Next 365, Understanding the Next 365. And I do it every year since 2015. This year, we did it in January 2020. And whoever was there knows that we did say a recession is going to hit the world, you know, this year. We did say that something unprecedented is going to hit us going to the decade. We did define the decade as the rise of the underdogs. We did define it as the fading of power as we know it, and the emergence of power as we are yet to understand. What we did not photograph, and we don't need to photograph, is the shell of that change, which is COVID. COVID was the shell. COVID is not a change. It's just the shell of the change. It's the container of the change. It's not the change itself, right? So I didn't see COVID coming, and I don't need to see it. But we did see that there's change. It's going to lead us to an unprecedented use of technology. And I introduced a concept since 2018 called borderlessness, because I've been making the noise that the world is going to change drastically through borderlessness, and technology will be the driver of all ideas. And I've been saying that since January, at this same event that I'm talking about in 2018, January 2018, was when we started making this noise and making it evident. So that is what futurism is about. I hope I'm clear.
Yes, very clear. You know, the first time I heard about the concept of borderlessness was actually from you. And I heard it I bought your tape. I wasn't at the event, but I think 2 years ago, I heard you somewhere, and I went and I bought the CD, and it was a series of CDs, and I replayed it so many times that particular year. I think it was 2018 actually that I listened to.
Yes, it was.
So I would like you to bring that idea of futurism into raising children, raising digital. All our children today are digital natives, right? We can accept that they are all digital natives. So how do you bring the concept of futurism, the family curriculum that we're all running knowingly or unknowingly, to talk about how we need to be raising our kids today? All our kids are online. COVID has changed everything. Our children are online learning 24 hours a day almost. And a lot of parents are struggling at this time. They are getting a report card that shows them that the children they thought they were raising are not quite what they are. You know, so everybody is shocked and dealing with it in different ways. So I'd like you to break down the concept of digital natives, how parenting needs to shift to fit that new citizen of the world that we're raising.
So thank you. I think that the generation we are raising now is the Generation Z. Generation Z, that is the label for that generation. And what we need to do is to gain more understanding about that generation and how they think and how they make their assumptions and what they prioritize, so that we can align. I mean, you can't train a dog to be a goat, right? You can only make him a better dog, you know, a more considerate, a gentle dog or a violent dog, but he's going to be at his best a dog. In the same way, you can't make a child, you know, what you want. You know, that is the big mistake that we make. We want to make children what we want. And you can't make a child into what you want. You know, you are going to have a production error when you try that. You are supposed to understand the purpose of the child, the life of the child, and align yourself, your expectation, and everything around that. I laugh when people say, I want my son to become a doctor. I say, you don't have a say in that. You know, you have no say in that. When you say, I want my son to become a lawyer, I want him to take over my business. Well, your son can take over your business, but he doesn't need to do your business to do that. There's a board. I don't need a medical doctor can take over you can wheel ShopRite or a big mall. You can wheel Walmart to a medical doctor. He doesn't have to be in the management space or in the social science space for him to receive an inheritance of a mall or like a Walmart. You know, he just needs to be on the board, and he needs to learn basic behavior on the board and understand basic things. And he will be on the board as chairman or as the largest shareholder of the company and run it. You don't need to make him to go get an MBA because you want him to inherit your mall, you know, and he doesn't need to run the mall for the mall to continue to be profitable. You just need to be on the board and enjoy the office of the largest shareholder and to function in the board with understanding. So what it needs is training to understand how a board functions and the basic things about the business. But to say that he has to come and be a lawyer because you want to give him the legacy of a law firm would be a mistake, you know. Its research has shown that 95% of parents don't correct their children for what they do wrong. They correct their children for what they don't like, you know. So parents rarely correct kids for what the kids do wrong. We don't correct children for what they do wrong. We don't correct them for what is wrong. We correct them for what we don't like. And I tell parents that when you do that, you are conditioning the child, you know, to perform for you. And when your child is able to keep all your rules, but cannot keep the rules in the world, you have set the child up. You know, you don't train a child for your world. You train the child for the world. You know, if the child cannot look at you in the face and talk to you, how is he going to look into the face of mean wolves and vultures out there, you know, and tell them no? You know, the most powerful word in the life of a child is no. And if a child can say yes all night long, it's going to be used, abused, taken for granted, cheated, you know, defeated, you know, chanced, beaten, if not killed in this world, right? A child has to develop skills in saying no. You know, when a child is raped, you know, when a girl is raped, when you go near that, it's a sad experience, terrible. But when you go near it, 90% of the time, there is an unguardedness in the human ability to use no skillfully. You know, abandoning the power and the effect of your no into the hand of a second party or a third party is too risky. You know, you have to stay in control of your no. So when we tell young men to respect no, we should tell them. But the girls need to learn not to abandon their no. Your no should be within your control. Because if you abandon association with your no to the third party, what if you refuse to respect it? Then you are in crisis. You know. So how do you protect your no that it is never within the control of the second party? So men need to be taught to respect the no of the opposite sex, but the opposite sex, of ladies, but the ladies need to be taught also to stay in control of their no and not to make their no at the mercy of a man, you know, because when you don't learn the skill of doing that, you become endangered, you become an endangered species. And that is the narrative that needs to go popular, you know, not just telling men, you know, the world is complex. It's like a market. You can't control what is coming. It's like you want to say no to poverty. It's a foolish thing to say. You can't end poverty. You can only alleviate poverty. Somebody must be poor for wealth to continue to have value. Somebody must be foolish, like say no to foolishness. Everybody cannot be wise. Somebody must be foolish for wisdom to continue to have value, right? If everybody can be wise, wisdom will be meaningless and unnecessary, right? It will be common because what determines the power of an idea is its rarity, not its commonality. If anything can be common and generic, it cannot have value. So we have to understand that you should not, no to rape is wrong. We should not say no to rape. Because no to rape is a wrong, it's like you want to stop war and you are saying, you are doing anti-war conference. Mother Teresa said, don't do anti-war conference, do peace conference. Because if you do anti-war conference, you are still reminding yourself of war. War is still what you are fighting. So forget about war and do peace conference. So it's like saying we want to end poverty. End poverty is an impossible goal. You know, alleviate poverty, poverty alleviation. You can reduce poverty, but you cannot eliminate it. In the same way, there are things you cannot stop. You can only teach, empower people to navigate within it. So what I tell parents today is to empower children. It doesn't matter what generation it is. You know, I'm not the guy that is too big on specific generations when it comes to some soft areas of life. I mean, hard work is a constant. There will never be a generation that will transcend hard work. You must work hard. You know, hard work is a human need, and it will continue to be a need forever. Whether they are millennials or Gen Z, or how we work is a different ballgame. But hard work is a cardinal principle that the human spirit must obey on this side of heaven. Otherwise, you cannot attract value of any kind. So the idea, therefore, is we need to empower kids. And how do we empower kids? Some laws are constant. For example, when a child is 18, it must be ready for any level of responsibility. When a child is 18, it should be ready for any level of responsibility, including a jail term. And I say that with a lot of respect, because by the social justice system, the social justice system says when a child is 18, it should be ready for any level of responsibility, including a jail term. Because if the child commits a crime at age 16, they say it's a minor. You cannot even call him a criminal. The best you can say is that it's at conflict with the law. You can't call him a criminal. You become a criminal when you are 18. You go to jail. They can take him to a home, a remand home, and all of that, but not a jail, not a prison, not a penitentiary. By the time you take him to a prison, then it must be 18. Because at age 18, if you commit a crime, or you commit a crime at age 80, whether 18 or 80, you are going to the same prison. Nobody will give you a lighter sentence because you are still 18. You will wear the same uniform, you will sleep on the same bed with an 80-year-old. Because 18 for many countries and for many cultures is the equalizer. It means that when a child is 18, society expects him to be able to take responsibility for anything, including a jail term. So when I hear parents tell me that my daughter is not ready for a boyfriend, or cannot get married, or cannot do internship, cannot start a business, my son cannot do this, cannot do that, I hear them. I hear what they are saying. But I also hear what they are not saying. What they are not saying is that they have failed in their responsibility to get the child ready for society by age 18. Because boys are not going to see puberty signs on your girl with breasts, with her body and everything, and say, oh no, don't toast her, don't talk to her yet. You know, our mommy said she's not ready, or our daddy said she's not ready. No, armed robbers are not going to see your boy, his biceps, his muscles, and all of that, or cultists, and say, oh no, don't talk to him, or gangs on the street. Don't talk to him. His daddy said he's not ready. There's nothing like that. You know, once your child is 18, he's supposed to be able to do anything, to run a company, to run a bank, to run your business. You understand stock market. You should know anything. You should know global warming, climate change. You should know enterprise. You should understand workforce, human capacity. He should be able to do anything. He says if he wants to get married, he should be able to do that. If he cannot do all of these things, don't tell me your son cannot do business. He cannot start a business, cannot go and work, cannot run internship, cannot get married, but he can go to jail. He can go to jail because if he commits a crime at that age, he's going to go to jail. So you are telling me that he can go to jail, but he cannot understand the stock market, but he cannot do all of these things. There's something fundamentally wrong there that we need to check. So my advice to parents is to focus on those cardinal issues that help a child be ready for society at age 18. And more so in the time that we are living, where those who are parenting critically now are parenting Gen Z and millennials. And when you look at it, Gen Z have rebellion around them. It's how to direct it that is your responsibility. They are going to ask why all day long. So there's nothing you can do about that. They cherish freedom. They think enterprise more than anything. 60% of them want to go into business. They insist on transparency. They insist on accountability. They identify more with a cause, with an ideology more than anything. So we need to profile who they are. They are tech-driven, you know, and you want to appreciate that. But, you know, whether a child goes online and what it does online, whether it goes to watch porn, or it goes on to do a research or to see a faith-based program, it's not going to be determined by how he moves his mouse, and it's not going to be determined by your instruction. Instruction should not tell a child where to go. His values should tell him where to go. So it's his values that tell the child whether to see this or not to see this. You cannot control where he's going to navigate. If he doesn't do it at home, he will be with his friends. will be with their phones. He will do it somewhere else. So what has he learned as core values deep within him that govern his thinking and his behavior, and that determine his use of those two words, yes or no, because all of what we call life happens between yes or no. Call it bad marriage, good marriage, terrible worker, bad worker, great company, bad company. Call it anything. Those two words shape it. Yes or no. Yes or no.
Wow.
What you say no to and what you say yes to. So I tell people, don't think too much about what to teach your children, right? Don't think too much. Don't overthink these things, right? You don't need a bunch of keys to open a door. You only need one key, the right key. You don't need to know everything. Narrow everything down to the child's ability to say yes or no. For the child to learn how to say yes and how to say no. And there are key ideas within that block that will make the difference. So I'm not too worried about the concept of digital natives. I think it's just reality that technology will drive our world today. We've said it, and to whoever cares to listen, that we are going to speak developing, underdeveloped, and developed nations. We're going to speak more and more about smart, smarter, and smartest nations. We're going to speak less and less about democracy. It's not going to go, it's just going to be a secondary experience. We're going to speak more about technocracy. And technocracy essentially is a system where all ideas are driven by technology. In a technocracy, all ideas, all human exchange is driven by technology, right? Whether you are a school passing out knowledge, or you are a business selling a product, or you are a firm pushing a service, whatever you do, whatever it is you do, or you are a church putting out a message, or a hospital selling the narrative of health, whatever you are doing, you know, all ideas must be driven by technology, and they must be managed by technologists. They must be driven by technology and managed by, that's not a human condition. That is a human reality, right? The human condition is a matter of the soul and a matter of the heart. It's a matter of the human spirit. Racism, for example, is a heart issue. It's a heart issue. You know, so it comes down to that. You know, when a man rapes another girl, you know, and some of us have been stupid. I grew up on the left side of life. I've done stupid things in my life as a sinner, you know, as a young person. And spending time in that space, I saw so many things on the street, you know. I'm not a guy you want to tell about the street, you know. I was on the street, you know. I saw things firsthand. I saw good boys become armed robbers. I saw amazing good boys, you know, become killers. You know, I saw good girls going wild on the street. I saw, you know, promiscuity come out of innocence. You know, I saw boys who, when they gained admission to the university, could not even kill a fly. By the time they were in their third year, they were killing a human being. I mean, I saw all kinds of things, you know, because parents assume a lot. Like I said at the beginning, we train children for our world. You know, you don't train kids for your world. They will keep all your rules. But when they go out there, they abandon all your rules because they don't even know how to keep the rules of the world. You only know how to keep your rules, you know. So a lot of times when we say that kids are submissive, we think we have raised submissive kids. When you go near that child, you see that this is not a submissive kid. This is a subdued child. The child is subdued in the home. And the day he gains independence of choice, everything you never thought possible will come out of the child, right? And a lot of children are angry. A lot of them are, you know, completely unhappy. But they are taught to play the majority game, pretending to be happy. So my advice is to focus on the human condition, to focus on the heart, you know, of the child, the values that the child will grow up with and govern his behavior with and govern his thinking with. So that whenever he finds himself, whether it's a millennial or a Gen Z, and the oldest Gen Z today is 23. The oldest Gen Z is 23. So 23 year below, right? That's Generation Z. And some parents are in that core group. Then they have millennials. So parents today are pretty much training, because parenting, I must also remind the audience today that parenting is an 18-year program. You are a parent for 18 years. You are a mother for life, because motherhood is an office. You are a father for life because fatherhood is an office. But you are a parent for only 18 years. Any act of parenting after 18 years is damage control. Any act of parenting after 18 years is damage control. And when it comes down to it, you see that what we do that we call parenting is a reaction to the failure of parenting. We are not actually parenting anymore. You know, for animals, it's shorter. A dog can sleep with a puppy dog can sleep with mommy dog 6 months down the line, 1 year down the line. Parenting is over. You are now another female that I can sleep with. You know, for animals, the duration of parenting is shorter. For human beings, you know, in most cultures, is 18 years. For the Jews, it's even shorter. I think the Jews deal with 12 years or thereabout. You know, but so it's different from culture to culture. But in the West, especially, it's 18 years. And I know for sure in our own culture, 18 is what the social justice system accepts. We should prepare kids for that, so that even if we are not there anymore from age 18, even if life takes us out and we are not there anymore, the child can navigate his or her destiny from that moment on. So 18 should be graduation in life.
Graduation.
Yeah.
I like that. 18 is graduation. Fantastic. You know, you're saying so much. It's mind-boggling. I told everybody before you came on, you shake concepts and you shake the table. I want us to talk about something else that I have picked up from you. You can see I'm a good student. I've been following you well. You've talked a lot about the post-truth world.
Yes.
Can you explain that to our parents on the call today, what that means when you're raising a child whose life, what they see is a post-truth world? What does that mean, and how does that affect our children for the future?
Great. Thank you for that question, and thank you for your followership. I celebrate that. I'm not the one that is very easy to follow or exciting to follow. So when people stay true to what I teach, I'm happy and fulfilled. But what I would say is post-truth is a very important phrase that needs to be understood. As a matter of fact, I think it's too risky to parent in the 2000s without understanding that idea, that concept of post-truth. And post-truth is a new word that was accepted into the English dictionary, November 16, 2016. I will never forget because that's my wedding anniversary, November 16. So on that day was the day that the word post-truth was accepted into the dictionary, November 16, 2016. And in the most lay way, I would describe post-truth. First of all, when you hear post-truth, it is suggestive that there was truth, there was pre-truth. It's like there was pre-truth, a time where there was no truth, then there was truth, and then the world is now ready to live beyond the truth, which is post-truth. And that is disturbing, you know, because we have to ask ourselves, what does that even mean? When the world is ready to define its realities beyond the limits of truth, what does that even mean? Right? So if we look at that, you know, we want to slow down a bit and say, for example, where is truth in that component? And I'll tell you where truth is in that component. It's relegated to the background. Ideally, nobody should move from feeling to action. Nobody should move from emotion to action. As a matter of fact, to expand it, nobody should move from stimulus to action. You greet knowledge, you greet stimulus with curiosity, not acceptance, not belief, not prejudice, not view, not even opinion. You greet stimulus with curiosity. When you hear something for the first time, greet it with curiosity. Don't accept it, don't reject it. Seek to understand, right? So the idea is that people now move in a post-truth world. People move from feeling straight to action. People move from emotions straight to action. People move from stimulus straight to action. Meanwhile, you are supposed to subject feelings to reasoning. And then reasoning must be guided by truth before you get to action. Feelings must be subjected to reasoning, and reasoning must be guided by truth before you move to action. Emotions is not wrong, but it when left unguarded is a vice. So freedom without rules is a vice. Freedom without rules is dangerous. Emotion without rules is dangerous. Somebody said we should spell the word post-truth.
Yeah,
that is post-truth. T-R-T-H. T-R-U-T-H. Post-truth. So you are supposed to move from feelings to reasoning. Then reasoning guided by action, by truth, before you move to action. No matter what you are doing, reasoning and truth must be components in that. The reason why we have abuse of faith, which is what religion is. Religion is not God. It's a human effort to capture God. It's a human effort to explain God. Religion is abuse of faith. Religion is not faith, right? And religion is a movement from feeling to action. And that is why it's not like a drug, because it's opium, because we've eliminated reasoning and truth inside it. So a lot of religion has no truth component at all, right? What is happening is that we move from even a lot of what we call marriage, a lot of what we call parenting, a lot of what we call friendship are judged between the borderline of feeling and action, emotion and action, freedom and action, you know. But we are supposed to move from feeling to reasoning, and then allow reasoning to be guided by truth before we move to action. When we move from F to A like that, or E to A, you know, we create a crisis. And so what is happening now is populism, is Brexit, is Emmanuel Macron, even the election of Donald Trump. You know, all of these have been touted. Brexit has been touted as experiences that occurred because people respected their personal opinion and personal views and personal beliefs above logical reasoning, above objective facts. So in a post-truth world, what we feel about the truth is more important than what the truth is about. That's dangerous. What we feel about the truth is more important than what the truth is about. What we feel is happening is more important than what is actually going on, right? What we feel is more important than what is actually going on. So feeling has become the new God. Personal belief, personal opinion, views are all, you know, the children of feeling. We start from feeling, from how we feel. How we feel about something has become more powerful than what that thing is even about. That is why social media is on the rise. That is why we have all kinds of social media today. That is why populism happened. That is why all of that is going on. Because logic is losing, objective facts is losing, feelings and views are the new King Kong. That is why stupidity can gain traction today. Somebody can do something stupid online and go popular and make a lot of money. You see, 40 years ago, 20 years ago, if somebody strips himself naked in public and everybody's looking at him, that could be the end of his career. We will laugh him to scorn. It's a shame and an embarrassment. But today it's no longer an embarrassment. If you remove all your clothes and you put your social media accounts, your social media handle on your chest, on the street, you can have 2 million followers that day. Yeah. You can have 100,000 subscriptions that day. You can have a million likes that day. And when that happens, Google pays you money. So you can go there. Moral minds can go to that page and say, useless girl. Look at the way she strips herself naked. You know, you can curse the girl, cuss her out, embarrass her, insult her. But you see, she doesn't care. Google does not pay her for smiley likes. They don't pay her for frowning likes. They pay her for likes. Because for you to criticize her, you have to view it first. You have to view the video. before you can say useless video. So Google does not pay her. YouTube does not pay her for happy views. They pay her for views. Whether you frown to view or you smile to view, she's going to be paid for viewing. So if 2 million people frown on that view, she's going to be paid still. So your frowning is not a strategy. Your beef is a strategy for her. She needs to make you mad so that you can come and view. She needs to make you crazy. So stupidity is a strategy now. Even evil is a strategy now. Your anger is a strategy for somebody else, depending on what it's trying to achieve. Lies have become strategy. Perception is not strategic. So I can do something now because I want 3 million Christians to be angry. And when they are angry, they will come and they can't even get angry until they see my post. And when they see my post, they will be mad. And when they are mad, YouTube pays me. And YouTube pays me a lot of money. So when you look at that, and I'm not saying me, I'm saying that is what is going on in the world. And that is why if you watch the last Champions League, I'm talking to a lot of women here, I know, because women come around parenting programs more. But if you follow soccer at all, there's a competition in the world called the Champions League, the European Champions League. And in the last one, in the final, a girl just stripped herself naked and ran from the front stand, ran away from the stand and ran across the pitch, naked. Ran across the pitch. Do you know what happened? In less than 30 minutes, I think she got about 3 million followers online. She's a model. She's a model. Before then, she had about maybe some hundreds of thousands, maybe some 100,000 followers. In less than 30 minutes, she had, by the next day, she had, some 1 million or 2 million, followers, views, crazy. It's because now quality is arrested. Experience is what is selling. So post-truth is about how people feel and the premium they place on their feeling. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is governing the world. So what is happening is that kids in a post-truth world are more akin to respond to their feeling than to objective reasoning. So if you are a product or you are selling an idea or you are selling a concept, your idea better unlock feelings in the world. If you cannot unlock feelings in the world, the right feeling you want, right? But feeling all the same. If you can't unlock that, you cannot attract loyalty. You can't attract loyalty. So everything we call customer satisfaction, customer advocacy, customer loyalty, customer all of that, they are all now subject to how much emotion, how much feeling we can unlock towards what we do. So parents must now understand that they have a higher level of negotiation to do now. In negotiating with Gen Z and millennials, what they are negotiating really is the borderline of attention. Because the most critical resource in the world today is attention, not gold, not uranium, not diamonds, right? But attention, giving it, keeping it, getting attention, giving attention, keeping attention at whatever level of exchange, and once you lose that game, you lose everything. And that game is contested on the back of freedom, is how you manage freedom, right? There's a lot to say, but I think I should pause there.
I think that's great. And I want to ask you if you're going to give us 10 more minutes. I know we should have ended at 8, but we started a little later. So is that fine?
No, it's okay. It's okay. As long as you want, I'll try and manage that.
Okay. So people, if you have questions, we're going through so much and time is flying, but please put any key questions into the Q&A so we can try to answer a few questions. But I think the concept of post-truth really ties into the fact that our children today, what they see online, how we make them feel, leads to their actions. And I think that's what you're summarizing. That is how we child today think. Because of the connectedness of their world, they see something, they feel a certain way, they take action. And they're very trigger happy. However they feel, they are sharing it on social media. They're not thinking long term. They're not thinking about what this means when somebody Googles my name down the line and they see that I did something stupid. Sometimes the stupid things, as they are saying, might not even harm them the way we think it will harm them, right? So it's difficult to tell your child, don't do that because it's bad, but they're telling you the person who did it now has a deal with, I don't know, Netflix or something. So how can you tell me it's bad?
I need to say this. You see, instruction without clarity, you know, instruction without clarity is persecution. You know, when you give instruction, do not. I always tell parents, please minimize how you use do not. If you are a Christian, you understand that the whole failure of the law in the Old Testament was because it was based on rules. Do not. Do not does not govern behavior. In fact, children don't hear do not. Every time you say do not, what they are hearing is do. Except because they hear in the reverse at that level. So part of what you need to do is to help them to whatever you have to do is to help them to negotiate that, you know. And so don't pass any instruction that you are not ready to explain, and most importantly to model. You know, I know it's not easy. Nobody is perfect. We are going to struggle with ourselves, and there's a place for the grace of God that will help us beyond our capacity. But what is true is that as much as it depends on you, as much as you can control it, as much as you can, right? Try all you can to give instructions only with explanation and accompanying that instruction, and try to model the things you give instruction on, because we all know that kids don't care what you say as they care about what you do. So it's what you model and what you explain that works for kids. So this is not the time to bring rules and cane and beats and all of those ways of doing things. In fact, research has also shown that over 90% of parents never correct their children in their lifetime. They only punish. They never correct, because correction is not punishment, right? And you don't need formal training to know how to punish. You just need to be born. Any fool can punish. But correction is a skill. It's not a gift of nature. Correction is a skill. Yeah.
Wow, fantastic. This is so powerful. We have a question here. We have a couple of questions. So we'll give them all like 1 to 2 minutes as much as possible so we can get in as many as we can. We have a question. How do you teach Gen Z the importance of values and moral ethics?
Yeah, that's a very important question. I'm going to say that the first thing you need to do is to get off your high horse and, you know, come to their level. You know, Gen Z cherish authenticity, they cherish transparency and accountability. And if you are not going to, you are not going to teach Gen Z from a perfection point of view. You cannot. That's a fundamental thing parents need to understand in teaching Gen Z. They are not expecting you to be perfect. In fact, God will never put your miracle beyond your reach, nor put it in the hand of your adversary. So God will not make a demand where he has not invested. He knows you cannot be perfect. Perfection cannot survive on planet Earth. Perfection eludes planet Earth. It's impossible to supply perfect behavior. So God cannot tie the sanity of your family to your perfect behavior, because you can't supply perfect behavior. So, but you can supply transparency. You can't supply perfect behavior, but you can supply perfect transparency, which is to yourself be true, and to your children and your area of influence be accountable. So you want to be real, you know. Let kids see you in your element. Take responsibility where you can. It's not much about what you can teach verbally, but what you can demonstrate in your lifestyle. If you make a mistake, own up. You know, don't try to show your invisibility. Try to show your vulnerability. Vulnerability precedes intimacy at any level. When you see people who are not close, who struggle, when you go close to them, they still have points they are proving to each other. To be intimate, you have to supply vulnerability. Vulnerability precedes intimacy. And when you are vulnerable with your children and you let them know when you make a mistake, you apologize when you make a mistake. When you do something right, you make it clear. When you do something wrong, you make it as clear. When they do something right, you offer praise. When they do something wrong, you know, you let them know and then teach with your life. You know, speak your own struggles, speak your own examples. You know, those things are priceless to Gen Z. They like to know that you are not a machine, yet you feel all they feel and you are doing well. That is where their teaching is. Their teaching does not come from you making them feel like you are perfect or you are a machine. So I tell people, be vulnerable. The vulnerability equation is key. Secondly is be affirming, you know. You know, a billion instruction in the home is still inferior to one I love you. One I love you is more powerful than a billion instructions. You know, and I tell parents, no matter what you do, at least once a week, you know, in a dramatic moment, at least once a week. You should do it every day. Yeah. But when you do it with skill, because there's a way you can say I love you to kids and they know you don't know what you are saying.
Yeah, you're just saying it. Yeah.
Find a good moment. And I tell people, if you cannot act, you shouldn't be a parent. You know, you have to be a good actor, you know, to be a fantastic parent. You know, find a great moment to look at your children in the eye and to give a hug and say, I love you. Yeah. You know, you just have to find that moment and make it as real, an Oscar-winning moment, at least once a week. It has to be true. Don't say it in a rush. Don't do it when you are, you know, just get out. I love you, mom. Yeah, you can do all of that, but find one rich moment, particularly when it disappoints you. You know, particularly when you disappoint you, particularly after a reprimand. You know, you need after those kind of times, or when it does very well, when it wins. When he brings a trophy home, when he does something great out there, you know, let him know. It's not every time you have to say, oh, that's a good action. You know, at times he has done something, maybe he's expecting you to say, wow, that's a good way to talk. You can do that, but at times, just look at him and just hug him and say, you know, I just love you. No, I love you at that moment is bigger than you did something right. You know, so we can do stuff like that because they are priceless. You know, another thing is find another Oscar-winning moment to tell your child you can do anything that you choose to do. You know, find that moment, you know, particularly when he's feeling let down or he's disappointed in himself, let him know you can do anything you set up your mind to do. And if you are a Christian, you should not just say you should say you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. You know, you should say that to kids as often as you can. And when kids hear that, they are more than the power of a million friends. They are more than the power, you know, of a billion instructions. And number 4 is don't be your child's friend. You know, there's this assumption that you have to be your child's friend. I don't think you should. They have their friends, and if you get busy trying to be their friend, they will relate to you like they live with their friend. They will disrespect you. They will get familiar with you. They will take you for granted. You are not their friend. They have their friends. You are a friendly mom. Be friendly. Be a friendly dad. You are not their friend. They will have their friends. Don't try to be their friends. You know, you don't have to go and be sagging and go and be doing stupid stuff because you really want and just appear silly. They even feel embarrassed at times. You don't need to know their dance steps. You don't need all of that. That's not friendship. That is camaraderie. That's being a comrade. When you copy methods and copy styles, that's not friendship. That's being the comrade, you know. That is, you are binded by a common fad. You know, that's just comradeship. You know, there's something deeper, and that is being friendly, being there, listening, you know, paying attention, spending time. You know, those are the type of things that matter. You know, spending time with your kids as much as you can. Like I said, there's no such thing as perfect behavior, you know, but there's perfect love. So the time you have, you know, be in it and love it, you know, that is very critical, you know. And then again, you know, whatever you do, recognize that, you know, your kids have a right to the attention their individuality deserves. The attention their individuality deserves. You know, the respect their individuality deserves. You know, the education you can afford. I need to change that a bit. You know, a child is not developed in any classroom. First in class is not first in life at all. You know, a child develops on the parenting curriculum, not on the school curriculum. So don't be too big on your child being first in class. You know, you have to be first. You have to be first. You know, first in class is, you know, we've seen it now. There are billionaires in the world who left school. You know, academics doesn't govern destiny. Revelation does. Education does. Values does. And that's where we should camp. You know, then give them the, like I said, the freedom to be. You know, and then affirm them. You know, I wish I had time on that. We don't have time, but I would have loved to speak on affirmation, how to handle your children's mistakes, you know, in the presence of others, particularly when they are reported by a teacher or by friends or by another parent. You know, you don't want to show that you are a disciplinarian and just discipline them anyhow. Your first response is support. Even
Mm.
when they do wrong in front of people, when you get to heaven, nobody is going to ask you what you said to other parents. It's what you did with your child. It's your child you owe loyalty. You don't owe anybody loyalty. You don't, and that's the disruptive thinking. You know, you are not you don't try to prove to other parents that you are a disciplinary, you are a disciplined mom, or that you teach your parents. You don't owe them anything. You owe your child loyalty and belief. You know, so teachers will come to you and tell you, you know, your child did this. You should tell the child, really? Well, I'm surprised at what you are saying that he did that. I will speak with him. I will get back to you. Don't say, hey, he did that nonsense. I'm going to go and call. No, how do you know? I've seen lying teachers before. I've seen lying adults before. You don't believe, you without judgment. See your child first. And when you see your child, don't just go to your child and say, well, tell me, I heard what you did. They said you did it. No, you are destroying the child and you are losing your stake in the child's heart when you do that. You know, what you should do is to go to the child and say, tell me, you know, your teacher called me earlier and he said so and so and so. Quite frankly, you know, I don't believe him because I know you, I trust you, and I don't think you can do that. You know, I know that you are well trained, this is the kind of person you are, and this is your strength, and all that. But he said you did it. So I just want to know, did that really happen? You know, if he says no, it didn't happen. Even when you know he's lying, don't say, yeah, you are lying, you this boy, you are lying, come here. You don't know. Believe him. I tell people, if people look at you in the face and they tell you they didn't do something, believe it. Say, oh, you didn't do it, right? Yeah, I knew you wouldn't do it. It's going to look like you are encouraging the child, but you are not. You are not. You are telling the child that whatever it is you say, I'm going to believe you. That's a dangerous thing for kids. Even if he lied to you in that situation, I'm telling you, he won't lie to you the next time. Because he knows whatever I tell daddy, that is going to believe me. That is going to believe me. So it's reverse thinking. You have placed the responsibility on him. You have sown a seed of trust. You know what you reap? You are going to reap trustworthiness. You know, when you sow trust, you reap trustworthiness. So even though you know he's lying, but sow trust and say, you know, he's going to say, man, my daddy is dangerous. When I say anything to this man, he's going to just believe it. So he's going to live up to it. He will try all his life to tell you the truth because he knows you are going to believe it. You see, you're accountable to your children, not to the world. You know, you're accountable to your children. And one last thing I'm going to say is also in training kids, respect the law of double jeopardy. You know, respect the law of double jeopardy. And, you know, lawyers understand that. You cannot punish me for the same offense twice. You cannot punish me for the same offense twice. When you can't try somebody in Lagos and then he goes to jail and then you go and try him again for the same offense in Kano or in the north for the same offense. No, that's double jeopardy. Even the Bible says affliction shall not raise its head twice. That's double jeopardy. You know, so you can't punish someone for the same offense twice. So what that means essentially is that if you tell a child, don't touch this plug. If you touch this plug, it's going to shock you. If you touch it, its electricity is going to shock you. And things can happen. It can be very bad. And you have told him 100 times. Then one day, right in your presence, he went there, he touched it, and it has shocked him. And he's crying. Oh, that's it. He has been punished. You don't need to say, I told you, you this boy. You go to him, you knock, he said, I've told you, you won't kill me. So it's not about him, it's about you. You know. So, you know, if he has been shocked, he has been punished already. If you say anything negative to him at that point, or you punish him, or you cane him, or you discipline him at that point, it's double jeopardy. He's already crying. He has been punished. Most likely, he will never go near that thing again, right? So we have to avoid double jeopardy. Daddy has disciplined him on something. Mommy can come back and be soft. You don't start the conversation all over again. Hey, your daddy told me that you all right. You punish him something in school. Because at that time when he's crying, you need to raise the game. You go to him and say, hey, let me see. Hey, let me put iodine. Sorry. Let me put, spirit. Let me put water. You know all of that. You know what you are telling him at that point? At that point, you are telling, he knows he's vulnerable. He knows you have told him not to do it. Now he has been punished. But when you go with love, what you are telling him at that point is that no matter what you do, you can come to me. No matter what happens in this life, you can come to me. That is what makes you a stakeholder in his heart, above his friends out there. So that whatever is happening out there, she can always come to you. She will call you first. But when you make calling you a miserable experience, she will talk to her friends.
Wow. But that is, in fact, I don't even, you know when they say drop mic, I feel like just dropping mic and making that sound. But we'll take one more question. That we have so many questions. Sir, you are going to have to give Lagos Moms room.
It's okay, it's okay. Let's go.
We have to do more. We should keep going. You let me know when you can't take any more, okay? So we have a question here. Somebody wants to know, how do you keep kids motivated in this new age of distraction?
How do you keep kids what?
Motivated.
Yes, in the midst.
Age of distraction.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you see, the two things you want to preserve is trust and freedom. You know, you want to preserve the two. You know, we trade the two. You know, a lot of times we want trust, but we trade freedom for it. You beat the child, you don't destroy them, trying to create trust. You know, but the two are needed. You see, what parents must understand is that a child is born with three qualities, natural qualities. Three natural qualities. The first one is fearlessness. The child is born fearless. He has no experience of fear to make him fearful. So he's born, it can be startled, it can be all of that, but he's born fearless. A child is born fearless. Now, when you understand that, you also understand that a child's personality is 80% formed by age 6.
Wow.
A child's personality is 80% formed by age 6. Some people are waiting for the child to be 14, 15, 18 before they start the work. But the work, by age 18, by age 6, the work is 80% done.
Wow.
Because the child personality is 80% formed by age 6. Now, your job as a power parent is to preserve that fearlessness in the child till that age 6, at least. Is to make that child fearless, preserve it in the child till age 6. In most homes, particularly in African homes, we beat it out of the child before he's age 6. So every child is born fearless. We learn our fear. We learn our fear, actually. So, and that is wrong. Again, a child is born with spontaneity and curiosity. A child is born curious and spontaneous. It's natural. And those two qualities, spontaneity and curiosity, are the path to inventiveness. When you see children abroad inventing, creating machines and devices, it's because that quality was preserved in them. You don't kill the child there anyhow. You don't beat them anyhow. They preserve that, and they preserve their fearlessness, you know. And so they are able to create stuff and build incredible machines and do amazing things. And that is how we have to think in dealing with our children. We have to discipline them, but we don't have to punish them, because they are two different things. And then I say to parents, you know, you're supposed to preserve that spontaneity and curiosity in the child till the child is age 6 as well. But again, like fearlessness, we beat it out of the child before the child is even 6. You know, the third quality of a child, natural quality, is ignorance. Because ignorance is a gift. Ignorance is not an embarrassment. Ignorance is a gift, right? And we have to understand that and preserve that ignorance. But in preserving it, you want to create experts. You want to, because it is ignorance, is the acknowledgement of ignorance that increases dependability on others. Arrogance is fueled when the child has lost his own ignorance of things. So there is an ignorance that must remain in you for you to depend on others for strength in other areas. So, for example, we are not ignorant. So the ignorant person is the person that remains ignorant after the impact of training. Ignorance after the impact of training is a vice. Now, ignorance without training, right, is virtue, right? So, for example, I'm not a police officer. I'm not supposed to be able to cock a gun, arrange a gun, and shoot a gun. I don't have that training. Now I'm ignorant of that. So when I'm threatened, that is why I would depend on a police officer to help me. Nobody can judge me for not being able to shoot a gun. It's not my training. But a police officer has been trained to shoot. If he cannot arrange a gun, then he's ignorant. That's a vice. Because his ignorance has prevailed despite the impact of training, right? A lawyer will save me in court. I did not go to law school. I'm ignorant of law. So that is why I will depend on a lawyer to save me in court. So there is an ignorance that increases coexistence and balance of power amongst humans as far as relationships are concerned. And that ignorance has to be clear. So the child is ignorant in that sense. The parent, therefore, must infuse awareness into the child. Because that's why I say parents must be broad. You have to read wide, you know. You have to learn wide as well, so that you can, because kids are going to confront you with all kinds of things, and you need response. It comes down to how you respond, right? I tell people that the difference between 𝕙𝕐𝕣𝕖 and Mother Teresa is how their parents responded to their uniqueness. You know, it's how their parents responded to their uniqueness, because this life will not define us by our similarities, but by our difference. And so if you want to learn anything about your child, learn their difference and culture your teaching and your guidance to align with that difference, because each of us are unique, and our uniqueness determines our future power. So you want to camp around the child's uniqueness so that you can help him or her with his or her power when he moves into the future. So I think those are the key things that we need to learn in dealing with children at any time. And then also we also need to learn the place of options. We need to understand that, you know what, have you heard statements like, you know, values are eroded today? Have you heard it before? You know, the children of today don't have values, you know, there are no values. You know, I've heard that a lot as well, you know, but it's wrong. It's wrong, my sister. It's such a wrong assumption. Values are still intact most of the time. What has happened to young people today is options have been expanded. You see? So when I was growing up, there was no 24-hour TV.
Yes.
And there was no internet. You know, television was a house. You know, television was a big box. You know, it wasn't in my phone. I can't watch a movie anywhere I am. To watch a movie, I have to go home. I have to sit in the sitting room. There was only one TV in every home. There was only one TV that everybody has to watch. And for you to have tranquility, even to watch pornography, you will need almost 3 months to plan your tranquility, because everybody comes to the sitting room to watch TV. So when are you going to be alone with the TV? When? It can take you 3 months, 2 weeks, just to have 1 hour of foolishness, just to be silly for 1 hour watching porn. It's going to take you almost 3 weeks to plan it. Today, it's a button away. It's a button away. So if anything, we need to be more empathetic with children. The values we taught our kids are still there, but the options attacking them are wider. They are expanded. So a child, for example, when I was growing up, there's nothing to do till 4 o'clock. Once you leave school, you have to go and read, study for your homework, do chores at home. You have to do something sensible, you know, by design, not even because you have a choice, because there was nothing else to do. You go and play with something in your hand, abstract, you know, or you go and play your toys are things you do with your hands. You move your hand, you move your body to play, you know, or even when you want to play, you play soccer, you do things that are physical. You do things with your hands, you write with your, you know, everything is hands, you know, or you go and study, or you go and listen to your parents. But today, there is the challenge of privatization, which is the ability of the human spirit to have his highest bliss or his deepest misery alone without human contact. I'll say it again. The wretchedness or the burden of the human spirit to have his highest bliss and his deepest misery alone without human contact. What makes that happen is technology. Because this phone, you can have all your happiness, all your envy here. To be envious of somebody before, you have to see the person physically. You have to see physically to be envious of him. Now, you can be envious, you can be envious of him right in your bedroom. You can see his new car from your bedroom. You don't even have to go to his house. Before, when your friend buys a new house and is in London, you don't even know. When your friend gets married at times that you left school together, you may not even know. When he gives back to a child, you may not even know. Today, when he buys a belt, When he buys a belt, you will know because he will put it out, belto, belto. You will know you have got a belt. So from your home, your misery is louder. In your bedroom alone, you can monitor everybody's progress and say, this one is progressing. Yeah. You know, you can feel all of that from where you are. And that can be, impactful. So part of what you then need is to have another type of consciousness. Even for adults, that is a challenge. People are depressed because of social media. Research has shown that Instagram is the highest brewer of envy than any other thing, because it's video and you can monitor people's progress easily from here. And most of what people are putting out is not real. It's a lot of perception, right? But they put it out anyway. You know, so these are realities that we are dealing with, and if adults struggle with that, kids suffer from it. You know, so parents need to be more empathetic and be more understanding. You know, and stay with their kids more. Try to understand what they are doing. You know, in the 80s, a daddy can go out in the morning and come back in the night. You know, try that now. You go out in the morning, you come back in the night every day. You know, your child is gone. You see. And she will give you perfect acting in the home. You know, you will never notice anything. You know, you have to be on ground. You have to listen, because now your child is not just alone. She's here. The whole world is here. The most wicked people in the world are here. The best human beings are here. The goodness of the world is here. The evil of the world is here. Everything is happening right here. So you've got to rent a space here as well to even know what is going on. So
amazing.
Challenging. And parents have to be solid more than ever before.
Great. We have one question that's come up a couple of times that I'll wrap into one, and then we are going to wrap up. The question is really around the skill of correction. You said something earlier about the difference between correction and punishment. How does somebody learn that very thin line and apply it effectively?
The difference is two words: understanding and empathy. Understanding and empathy. So punishment is an embarrassment of nature. Any fool can punish. You don't need formal training to know how to be punished. You just need to be born. It's like anger. You don't need training to know how to get angry. You just need to be a human being and you can get angry. There are 11 things you don't need training to know how to do. Punishment is one of them. Anger is another one. You know, and there are so many of them, right? But the idea is, you don't need anybody to teach you to punish your children. What you need to learn is to correct. Correction, like I said, is not a gift of nature. It's a skill. And how do you correct kids? Where does it start from? It begins from, first of all, understanding that a child will learn through mistakes, errors, and destruction. When you give a child a phone and she hears a voice in the phone, he's going to break the phone. He's going to take that phone and smash the phone. Now, when you see that, you are going to say the child is destructive. In Yoruba, in the west of Nigeria, we say basije. You know, we call the child names. But the child is not destructive. The child is learning. He's trying to see what is talking there. He's learning. So if you don't want him to destroy your own phone, buy him some other type of phone that is a cheap phone, or it's not even a real phone, but that has all the basic components of a phone, and let him destroy that. You actually give kids, if you have a throw pillow you have bought from Arabia or from Dubai that has a type of feathers, and you don't want anybody to touch it, then hang it on the roof in your house. Because if you put it within, touchable view, he's going to touch it. They are going to tear that stuff. They're going to break it into pieces, right? They're going to break it into pieces. And when they break it, they are not being destructive. They are learning. You cannot learn disruption if you don't understand destruction. And children will destroy things, but what you are calling destroying, they are learning through it. So you've got to arm them with more tools and what they can scatter and what they can disrupt, because they are learning through it. And that is key. Now, what you want to focus on is you want to discipline the child, not punish the child. You want to discipline the child. And to do that means that, first of all, when you see a child doing something wrong, you suspend your feeling, right? You suspect your feeling, and then you go into the feeling of the child. You rent a space in the child's life, in the child's mind. You sit in the child's world. You abandon your own position. Come into the world of the child. Experience his world. Know what is going on. You have no right to discipline a child without, first of all, understanding exactly what is going on with the child. You have to rent a space in the head of the child and know what is going on there. What is he trying to do? What he's trying to do may not make sense to you. If you see a child arranging something and you just go there, what are you doing, and just scatter it, you can disillusion the child like that forever. Because something is setting in his mind that you cannot see. And because it doesn't make sense to you, does not mean it does not make sense. That's why I tell parents, don't confuse what is easy for you to do for what is easy. If something is easy for you to do does not make that thing easy. It is for you that it is easy. It can be tough. Complexity is relative. What is complex to me is simple to you. What is simple to you is complex to me. So we need to come to that level in dealing with kids to know, don't think kids are just doing something that doesn't make sense. Let me tell you something. Anything a child is doing makes sense to the child. It's you that doesn't see what is going on, and you need to rent a space in the head of the child to see what is going on. But don't ever think because they are pouring water into a phone, therefore, what's this nonsense? No, it's not nonsense. It's sense. You just don't know what is going on. So you got to be more empathetic, which is abandon your position, go into the position of the child, understand what is going on there, then return to your world to pass judgment. You see, when you pass judgment, after going into their world and coming back, you'll be fair. You'll be more balanced, right? You focus on the right thing. You are not just trying to, when I say that, don't, you see parents say stuff like, don't destroy my name, don't destroy our name. It's thing to say, don't destroy your name. So the child just gets the point. Okay, I get it. It's not about me, really. I can die all I want, as long as your name is preserved. You just want your name preserved. You don't care about what I feel. You don't care. It's about the child. It's always about the child. And don't forget, you don't have time. You have only 18 years. You have only 18 years. So what you want to do is pour yourself into that 18 as much as you can. You will get all your time. You will get all your freedom. But invest in that 18. And the first thing is understand what the child is doing. It may not make sense, but try to understand. You don't have to discipline immediately. You can stop what is going. You can say, what, you can stop what is going on. But you still need to understand what is going on. So stopping what is going on, you can punish later. You can punish 5 minutes after. You can pause. You can look at it. You can call the child and say, tell me what you are doing. What do you think you are doing? And say it calmly. Don't say, come here. You did this stupid. What are you doing? What are you doing? What do you think you are doing? Yeah. What you are telling the child is you better don't talk. So, but when you come with you arrest your demeanor, your attitude, you calm down and you say, tell me, what is going on here? What is going on here? And then the child explains, I thought I'm doing so. You will pick something, you get it. And you will focus on that. Okay, so this is how you do it, but next time, don't do this. Don't do that. Right. Don't do that. And then don't offer, punitive measures if you have not warned before. So listen, the next time you do this, I'm going to let you go now. But the next time you do this, I'm going to do this and this. And once you say that, you must do it.
You have to do it.
You don't threaten children. If you threaten them and you don't stay through and follow through, you are disempowering yourself and empowering their ignorance. So you have to think that. So understand, empathize, and then discipline. But it's not the other way around. You cannot discipline. Once you discipline before you empathize, you are losing the child. You need to do a lot of it. By the time you do it a few times, you've lost the child already. You've lost the child already. So that is the key difference between correction and punishment. At times when we beat the child, we know, because let me define this. Punishment is the ability of the adult, really, or of anything. When you punish people, what you are doing is transferring your frustration to the child. Punishment is the ability of the offender, the ability of the ability of the offended, is the ability of the offended to give the offender an equal experience of his own pain and disappointment. So Punishment is the ability of the offended to give the offender an equal experience of his own frustration. So that's why when you give that child that slap, you feel better instantly. Because something left you. You can see that it was a relief. Slapping the child was your therapy. You have not governed behavior at all. You have not touched his thinking. You have not touched his behavior. So punishment is just pure, judgment. So punishment is the ability of the offended to offer the offender an equal experience of his own frustration without touching behavior, without touching attitude, without touching thinking at all. Correction is the other way around. Correction is the ability of the offender to suspend judgment.
Very
to suspend judgment. Then go into the life or the world of the offender, experience his world, then return to his own world, the offended world, to pass judgment. That when you do that, you see that you will offer accurate, necessary discipline. But more than that, you will offer inspiration and correction. So the goal of correction is transformation and inspiration. The goal of punishment or discipline, as we call it, which is not discipline most of the time, is punishment, because discipline is positive. Punishment is retrogressive and it's persecution. So, and anything you persecute grows. Anything you persecute grows. Persecution strengthens resolve. It doesn't govern behavior. If you persecute religion, it's going to grow. If you persecute Christianity, it's going to grow. If you persecute Islam, it's going to grow. If you persecute the gay movement, it's going to grow. Anything you persecute is going to grow, right or wrong. So you don't persecute, you negotiate. You don't persecute, you inspire. You don't persecute, you motivate. That is what you do. You transform. So what you need to do is to withhold judgment, then go to the life of the offender, and then understand what's going on there, then come back and then pass judgment. You will see that you will discipline the child proportionately. I call it progressive discipline. So where you are empowering the child, you are seeking to understand the child, you are helping the child, then you are disciplining the child. That is progressive.
Amazing. Thank you so much, PK. This has been fantastic. We have so many questions. We can't get to them. And maybe I'll try to get them to you afterwards, and we'll see how we can get it back to the people. But one last point before you go off, we have a question here about your parenting program. You mentioned it earlier briefly, your parenting clinic. So how can people find you? How can they sign up? What is this about? Can we end with that?
Yes. They could find me on social media and DM me, because right now our parenting platform is going through reinvention. We are rebuilding the website. We are responding to COVID. We are changing our exchange model. We are doing all of that. In another 30 days, we should be ready. But if they DM me, I can put them in my database so that as soon as we are launching again, we can carry them along. We have a parenting academy. We have a parenting clinic. And we have what we call the Power Parenting Interaction. And all we are doing there is just parenting excellence. And we're helping so many people. We've helped to date about over 12,000 people, over the years. So why not? You should just DM me on Instagram, I'll respond.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much, sir. This was a fantastic time. I mean, I learned a lot. The comments are pouring in. People said they have to replay this and just be hearing it over and over and over again.
Awesome.
So God bless you so much. Everybody, you can find Mr. Soriyan on Instagram at Olakunle Soriyan. Am I pronouncing it right?
Great. Yes, you are. Okay. You are.
Okay, fantastic. So that's what you'll find.
Soriyan. Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Get in touch with him. We all have to upgrade our parenting. This is a good time to do it. And I like what you said, that when you have knowledge, ignorance, when you have knowledge is real ignorance. That's when it's a vice. So with all of these things we have learned, we have to be able to apply different things to our parenting. Thank you to everybody who joined. We will try to get the answers to you, the ones that we couldn't take online. I'll send it to PK, and hopefully he can get this to you at some point. And I hope, I'm putting you on the spot, I hope we can get you in the future again somehow. We'll figure it out.
Why not? Why not? We'll work on that. You you know what we did to make this happen. You know,
Yes,
so
yes.
don't worry. Now that this has happened, we know we can always make it happen.
Fantastic. Thank you for
So
your time.
that door is open.
I'm glad. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Greetings to the family and
thank
safe.
you.
All right. Thank you.
Greetings to yours as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Blessings.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye-bye. All right. Thank you, everybody, for being part of this. We will get this to the people who signed up and who attended. You can watch it again for a limited amount of time. Mr. Soriyan is difficult to get, so I'm so glad we got in this evening. I have learned so much. If you see my notes here, it's good for days. So thank you for being part of this. We will get all the questions that you asked answered somehow, and we will get it to you. If you agree to be part of the newsletter, then you will get some more follow-up information from him. Okay, his Instagram page. Let me share that with you. It is at Ola. That's his handle, and ours is, because when he said what we have to go through to get this, there's a backstory. So if you also follow Lagosmums, subscribe to us. We will let you know when we're able to bring him back on. So thank you so much for being part of this. And stay till this time. It's been a valuable time. Thank you. God bless. Stay safe. Bye-bye.